afternoons from 3 to 6. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo. Look up on the wall.
Yeah, it's a wonderful Wednesday morning. The vote is in, at least the ESPN College Football Playoff Power Rankings. And the Tiger football team ended up as the fourth best team out of the group of five. Fourth best out of the group of five. I guess I would take that. I'm not sure exactly how they get that. So the Tigers have according to the ESPN Power Ranking, have a 6.5% chance of making the college football playoff. The best chance from the group of five, number one, is Boise State at 25.2%. This is the same Boise team that won't have Genty, the running back. So, really? Tulane is second, 24.5%. Tulane lost their starting quarterback, Mensa, to Duke. That was an $8 million two-year deal for a guy who was their third stringer going into last year, and then turned out to be a pretty good quarterback, but the Tigers took care of them pretty well. They don't have him, so I wonder. So the guys in front, Boise, Tulane, 25.2%, 24.3%, to me, have big question marks. But Memphis does too, because Memphis lost their quarterback, right? Now, what we saw were three guys in the spring that looked pretty good. I don't know what I saw in New Orleans or what I saw in Boise, Idaho. We'll see. And then ahead of Memphis, little bit distant, but a pretty solid third with 21.3% is UNLV, with Mullen taking over and apparently, of all the group of five, maybe the best portal class of all. So I can see that, but I think it's a battle with those four. It's going to be fun, but if you look at the way ESPN puts it, quite a bit of difference because you're 25.2, 24.3, 21.3, and then all the way to 6.5. So that's quite a distance between 1, 2, 3, and then the Tigers at 4. In fact, the power ranking predicts that Memphis will win just under 8 games at 7.9. They are totally ranked with everybody at 65. A comparison last year with the starting quarterback coming back, they were 58. So that's 7 places worse. Their chances to make a bowl, I like those, 88%. Well, look, the win total's 8. All you need is 6. 15% chance to win the conference. In other words, the folks think Tulane is 85% chance of winning that conference, and I'm not that sure. I don't think it should be that much of a variance, especially since Memphis gets them at home, and they beat them handily last year with a team that was supposed to be great. And that quarterback's not there anymore. And then they have a 0.5% opportunity chance, and remember, they're going to play Arkansas. They have a 0.5% chance of being undefeated. That would really be something else. We got a busy show. Dennis Phillippe's going to join us in a matter of moments here. Joe Dank is off. He's got a project he's working on. He'll be back next week. Filling in for him because I'm going to be gone the next 3 work days. Filling in today for Joe will be Paul Rogers, voice of Louisville, also our analyst on the Triple Crown. We will chat a little bit about the new deal. I think we've already talked with him a bit about that, the new 6-game deal. And I keep hearing 2 games may end up being in Nashville. We'll see if he's got any insight on that. But more importantly, the Belmont, which is, you remember the Triple Crown started with 20 horses. That was what lined up in the gate, and they used a couple of people who came in when a couple got scratched to get to 20. Then, of course, the Preakness, the Derby winner skipped it because it's just too hard. And now you're down to 8 horses, but you are down to Journalism, the horse that finished second to Sovereignty in the Derby, then won the Preakness. So you got the 2 winners up against each other. They're both in the field. Journalism that won the Preakness, lost by a length and a half, finished second to Sovereignty, is 8-5, I think, and then 2-1 is Sovereignty. So that's really going to be a great race. We'll get Paul Rogers' take on that. Then we make our golf picks, and there has been a move up. I'm no longer the first pick. Greg Hines, the great general manager of Windike, he will go first. I will go second. Johnny will go third. I'll give you the money totals later. And then fourth. This is the Canadian RBC, which to apparently Rory McIlroy, that is more important than a signature event like Jack's Memorial, which he skipped without even calling Jack after he had called Jack to help him win the Masters. Really interesting fella, this Rory McIlroy is. And we'll talk about that and a whole bunch of other stuff with our good friends. That'll be Mickey Barker, Johnny Lyon, and Greg Hines. In the meantime, couple of quick notes before we bring in our friend Dennis. Live Golf made a splash. I thought this stuff was over. I really did. I was wondering if the Prince and the Saudi, the Public Investment Fund, the PIF, if they were, because they've lost all this money in the first 3 years, like $1.5 billion. They don't care. They just invested and signed a 21-year-old Spaniard whose coach growing up was Sergio Garcia's dad. And this kid is really good, played at Arizona State. He's 21 years old. He won the U.S. Amateur last year. So he's the reigning U.S. Amateur. That's most of the time, if you look through history, and there's some exceptions like David Gossett didn't quite make it, won a U.S. Amateur. Of course, that's Memphis's own. We love him. But most of the time, if you win a U.S. Amateur championship, you're going to be a decent PGA Tour pro. So this is the kind of guy you really want. And Liv stole him away. I didn't see any of the particulars financially, but he's joining Sergio Garcia's team. This kid's really a very good golfer, probably a future Ryder Cup for Europe. His name is Giselle Ballister. It could be Josele. I'm not 100%. It's spelled Josele. Josele? Not sure. But I do think Ballister is correct. Anyway, that's a big pickup. It's a loss for Arizona State. It's a pickup for Liv as this battle continues on. Sad note, Jim Marshall, one of the original Purple People Eaters. In case you don't know, that's the Minnesota Vikings from way back in Fran Tarkenton's era, my youth. Jim Marshall lived to be 87. He's quite the gentleman, by the way. Passed away. I might have been this morning. But he holds the record for longevity by a defensive player in the NFL. 20 years, 270 straight starts, all with Minnesota. And that is the longest defensive tenure in the history of the league. So I do remember him really well. And I want to say, didn't notice this in the obituary. He played with Alan Page, Carl Eller. They were fierce. They were really great players. Elijah Seegers looked this up. I'm almost certain he became famous as a player, not just because he's great, like a two-time Pro Bowler and all that other stuff, and they were really good. I think he got famous as being wrong way Marshall. He actually picked up a ball, went 70 yards the wrong way into his own end zone for a safety. But I'm pretty sure that was Jim Marshall. But he was really something else. Jim Marshall passing away at 87. It won't be until tomorrow, OKC and Indiana. And I'm sure Dennis is going to talk about this because I don't get it. Tom Thibodeau fired yesterday. 5 seasons. He just signed last summer a 3-year contract extension. All he did was back-to-back 50-plus wins. Do you know that he has taken his team to win a series the last 3 years in the playoffs? This is the first time in 25 years they made the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay? I can't figure it out. Was it players? Because I'll tell you right now, Brunson and Thomas Hart, they all were big Thibodeau fans. Was it there is a coach that's available they really wanted over him? Like, could it be Jeff Van Gundy coming back? Could it be Danny Hurley? We may speculate this with our friend Dennis here in a moment. Was it ownership? Because James Dolan's an idiot. But I did hear one expert say yesterday, as soon as the Knicks have prosperity, they can't take it, so they throw it out the window. But that obviously is a big story. It's all brought to you by the good folks at Dinstall's. Well over 100 years of making sweet memories around this city. They've done it forever, it seems. And that's from their signature, which is probably Cashew Crunch. You could make the case because nobody does frozen or any kind of fruit that's dipped in chocolate like they do. Like you take the strawberries. I do like to freeze them, by the way. But you take the strawberries, they got the sugar around it that no one knows what's in that whole mix, but it breaks down the berry. It's so juicy. There's nobody that does a strawberry like Dinstall's. The turtlettes are fantastic. Their fudge has won awards not just in this country, but in the world. And it's right in our backyard. You can go where they make it on Pleasant View. You can go in my neck of the woods, Laurelwood. You can go to the Burbs, both Germantown and Collierville. They got a store. Downtown, they got a store. It's all over. It's the greatest way to say to a friend, I like you. Come on over. It's so sweet. It's so good. It's Dinstall's, and over 100 years they've been around. All of a sudden, the time has changed.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
I don't know who looked more frustrated. Tom Thibodeau on the sidelines when his team lost Game 6 at Indiana, or you when I started talking about the story?
Well, because this is what I was planning on leading with, and you started talking about it. Don't, please God, don't say anything that I have in my notes. And you didn't really. The thing is, well, here's the big news that I heard from two different reports this morning that the leading candidate to take over the Knicks is Taylor Jenkins.
Really?
Inexplicably fired Taylor Jenkins would be replacing inexplicably fired Tom Thibodeau. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God! Can you seriously just think about that for a second? And I'm not even talking X's and O's, but Taylor Jenkins, the master of never saying anything, unbelievable. I can't imagine him facing a New York press now. Because the Grizzlies are able to insulate, and they keep anybody that's going to be a strong reporter away from any of the Grizzlies. It's amazing how well they do that. That can't happen in New York.
No, the market is murdered.
Taylor Jenkins is going to get murdered there if he doesn't change the way he interviews.
It's a horrible market to coach in. Everybody gets screwed. I mean, Jalen Brunson, in his presser after the loss in Game 6, a reporter asked him, is Tom Thibodeau the guy to lead the Knicks to the next level? And he said, are you seriously asking that question?
Yeah.
Yes. Dropped the mic and walked off.
Right.
I mean, he left his press conference when somebody asked him about Thibodeau. He obviously had no idea this was going to happen. It's not a players. This has nothing to do with the players. This obviously has to do with James Dolan, who, as you said, is a moron. He inherited the team. He hasn't ever done anything. His father created Cablevision. That's where the money came from.
Right.
He inherited it. He's never done anything.
And they own the Yes Network.
But he's been absolutely... Now, Thibodeau is a sweaty comb-over. That's true. But he is the best coach that they've had since Pat Riley. I mean, that's been 30 years. Because the team that went to the playoffs 25 years ago basically was the team that Pat Riley put together.
Well, just think of this. Seriously, he has 24 playoff wins. In the last, I think it was 13 years I read maybe, he has 17 more playoff wins than all of those coaches combined.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. But by the way, I mentioned Hurley, which I think...
Now, he'd be great in that market.
He'd be great in that market because he would answer questions.
Because he's a lunatic.
But he's nuts. I don't see how players could respond to him. They've mentioned Van Gundy coming back, which I still don't understand why ESPN fired him. The guy was terrific as an analyst.
He was a better analyst than coach, that's for sure.
He did lead them to the playoffs. The one I keep hearing that does make some sense to me, I don't know that it's going to happen. I'm not saying it will. But you know that there are 3 Knicks that played at Villanova, including Brunson and Hart. and Mikal Bridges is the third.
Who has never missed a game since he was drafted.
Right.
Mikal Bridges has never missed a game in 7 seasons, 8 seasons?
And their coach at Villanova was Jay Wright, who is a great coach, who had championships back-to-back. So could he be the guy? But he's become pretty prominent as a studio host. So he's still got his hand in the game without a lot of pressure. Would he come back to try the NBA for first time? I think he would be more successful as an NBA coach than would Danny Hurley. Because I don't see how players can relate to the antics of Danny Hurley. Unless he went 180 and changed.
I don't think the Knicks are interested in somebody learning how to be an NBA coach. They're not going after a college coach. It's going to be somebody who's been a pro coach. We're going to have Indianapolis, the 41st market, versus Oklahoma City, the 53rd market, in the finals.
Is that behind Memphis? Is Memphis 52?
No, we're 48.
48.
Yeah,
it was 38 when I got here.
Me too. Yeah, they were 30. We were 38 when I got here too. The Pacers and the Seattle SuperSonics, who became the Oklahoma City Thunder. Both started in 1967. The two teams that are vying for the NBA championship are younger than us. Neither, and this is a weird one. Neither the Pacers, who were in the finals last season, nor the Thunder, who had the MVP runner-up from last season, were featured on the 5 nationally televised games on Christmas Day this year. The two that are in the finals, this hasn't happened since 2007. That the finals
I'm
did not
surprised
have
it's
a team.
ever happened, to be honest with you.
The Pacers, there are 5 Thunder players that have averaged over 1 steal per game in the playoffs. Ant Edwards described the Thunder as 15 puppets on 1 string. The Thunder went 29-1 against the East, which is the best differential in interconference play in NBA history.
And 2-0 against the Pacers.
No one is picking the Pacers, although they did. That's the weird thing.
Whoa, one guy did. I just saw it. There were 15 ESPN experts who picked. 1 out of 15 picked the Indianapolis Pacers in 7.
Well, the Thunder and the Pacers did play on Christmas Day. They played each other on Christmas Day, but it wasn't televised.
Is that right?
Yeah. They played, and it was
a
great
been on
game.
NBA TV.
It was but it was not nationally televised.
Right.
It was a fantastic game. The Thunder won, but it was a great game. I just think they're dull. I just think the Thunder is a dull team to watch.
Why?
They're slow. They play great defense, but they're just boring. Gilgeous-Alexander is just boring. Halliburton is awesome. Yeah. I love him. I love Nesmith. I love this Pacers team.
You think SGA is boring?
I do.
You think what's his name? The kid.
There you go. So you can't name the second player on the team because they're so damn boring.
No.
They're incredible. I can't think
Holmgren.
Holmgren. They're dull.
The guy from Gonzaga, Holmgren. He's a good player. Then they got the Hartenstein. They got plenty of great players. I like them.
I think they're dull, and I love the Pacers.
Who's going to win then?
The Thunder's going to win.
Oh, Thunder's.
No, I'm not stupid enough to pick the Pacers. I'm like everybody else. With the exception of apparently one person, everybody that I've heard has said the Pacers are going to make it more interesting than anyone expects. They're going to take it to 6 games.
The consensus would be Thunder in 6.
Yeah,
which is kind of weird because that means you win on the road. So we'll see.
Congratulations to the Colorado Rockies for reaching the 50-loss mark faster than any team in Major League Baseball history.
Explain this to me. Nobody has been able to yet. In back-to-back seasons, we've seen the 2 worst starts in baseball in 75 years. How is this happening? The White Sox last year and this year, it's the Colorado Rockies, who's, by the way, their run differential is over minus 200. It's like minus 202.
They are on track to win 25 games. For those of you who aren't playing along, Major League Baseball plays 162 games, and they're on track to win 25 of them. What they have in common with the White Sox is they're both really badly run organizations. They're just crap teams. They are the first team in the modern era to reach 50-loss mark without winning 10 games. They just got their first series win of the season.
I think in 24 straight series.
Yeah, they lost 22 straight series.
22.
They beat the Marlins, the other super crappy team in the National League.
Yeah.
So they are not good. I know you saw this. You were out of town, so you probably didn't have a chance to discuss it on the air, but it came out that Caleb Williams apparently considered telling the Bears not to draft him.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
But that's before a 16th century poet Ben Johnson became the head coach.
Wasn't that his dad who really made that disclosure?
It was a factor. Yeah, well, it was in somebody's book. I don't even remember what the source was, but that's before they hired the new coach, who was a great coach, and we know that the Bears are going to turn it around this year. They had an incredible draft.
The label was that the Bears are quarterback killers, and frankly,
which has historically been true.
It is true, and this hopefully this makes the change. And Ben Johnson was the right guy for this. Yeah. You would think. We'll see.
Well,
I hope
they surprised everybody by going all offense in the draft. Practically everybody they drafted was an offensive player.
And acquisitions on the offensive line. It looks like they have a decent OL, so we'll see.
No, I think the Bears have a really solid chance of winning that division. But they are quarterback killers because even when they were the best Bears team ever, Jim McMahon was not a particularly good quarterback.
No, he was a game manager. That was all.
Yeah.
I agree.
And he was he was a pill.
When you think of seriously the best Bears quarterback in history, you got to go back to Sid Luckman.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, that's crazy.
They haven't had a good quarterback in 50 years.
Yeah.
Watching the French Open makes my groin hurt.
Just because you've got to run and stop.
Just watching the way these guys, all the sliding has just been. I've watched a lot of it. And Alcaraz is such a force. He's great. Coco Gauff this morning won
over Madison Keys.
101 unforced errors. It was a sloppy game. I watched it. It was a very
and it was
ugly
like they
match.
closed the roof, right? Because they had rain issues.
I
wondered if the court was not 100% or something for that. I read it. I didn't see it, but 101 unforced errors between the two. And yet, Goff, who lost the first set, wins the third set 6-1. And I love Madison Keys. So that was quite the performance to do what she did.
It's weird.
In the deciding third set.
Coco Gauff, when she wins the first set and loses the second set, almost always wins.
I know.
In the third set.
I think she's 4-0 in that.
It's crazy. A high school baseball player in New Mexico, you may have seen this, peed in the opposing team's water jug, which the opposing team then drank from.
Since you said that, I forgot to mention this. Remember I talked about the kid that's the reigning U.S. amateur champ that signed with Live Golf? He's the guy that peed in Rays Creek.
Well, he's not going to make any kind of a difference for Live Golf. But the point is, this kid in New Mexico, this baseball player, he's not going to be charged with anything because in New Mexico, it is not illegal to interfere with someone's food. So they
so you
can't
can poison
charge him.
somebody?
Yes.
You can't be
they
if
can't
I
charge
put
him.
arsenic in your food and you died, I would not be charged with murder?
They wanted to charge him with 15 counts of battery, and the judge went, this is not illegal in New Mexico. What the hell is wrong with New Mexico?
You could poison somebody and it's okay.
What a backward state. I'm sure you saw this. Nick Barrett, amateur golfer, UPS driver, failed to deliver his scorecard after posting a 73 and was DQ'd. He went and had a hot dog. And he was just sitting down, eating a hot dog, realized he had his scorecard in his pocket, ran to turn it in. It was 20 minutes late. He was DQ'd. This is one of those anachronistic things in sports that drives me crazy.
I'm with you.
Why on earth are golfers still carding around their own scorecard? Why are they penalized when they don't turn it in? Or if their little stubby pencil makes a little bit of a mistake in it and they can be DQ'd for it? It's dumb and it's pointless. We're already keeping track of their stuff.
I agree with you when it comes to PGA Tour events, LPGA Tour events, even when it's televised and they're using all the electronic computers and scoreboards to keep things up. This is a U.S. Open qualifying at a just a regular private country club without all that stuff. I think you got to do that.
I think you probably figure out a way to have somebody keep score.
Well,
it's not that complicated.
I don't know.
It's like the dugout phone. Why do they still have a phone with a tangled cord hanging on the wall of the dugout? Why not? Everybody else on the planet, nobody has a landline anymore, except in the dugout at baseball stadiums.
You are looking for things to complain about today.
No, I just think it's stupid. These are things we don't need to worry about. And of course, the Edmonton Oilers face the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup final.
Come on, Edmonton!
For the second year in a row, the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup was
Montreal, 1993.
1993. I am not a hockey fan. I'd like to see Canada.
Me too.
Get the Stanley Cup, and as far
Nothing
as I'm
against
concerned,
Florida.
then they can keep it. Because I just don't care anything about hockey. I have held the Stanley Cup, but I don't care anything.
Why
about
don't you watch this series and then you'll fall in love with hockey? 'Cause
No, I
I
won't.
promise you it's going to be good.
No, I used to hang out in a bar, and a dear friend who owned it was a Penguins fan. Followed the Penguins for a couple of years. They won a Stanley Cup.
Have you ever?
It's fun to watch.
Have
I'm
you
just
ever
not
watched
into
the
it.
game in the arena?
Well, River Kings.
Okay.
Lots and
you
lots
got
of
a
River
little
Kings
of that,
games.
yeah.
I used to have.
Go to an NHL arena. It's amazing how good those guys are. Their skill levels.
There's no way I'm going to spend any of my time in another city going to a hockey game. I mean, if I'm on vacation in any city, the last thing I'm going to do is burn 3 hours at night of that trip going to a hockey game.
You're old. You don't drink as much as you used to. For goodness sake, go and enjoy a hockey game if you get a chance. That's all I'm saying. You'll be here next Wednesday, right?
I drink just as much as I always have. Yes, I'll be here next week.
Which is not heavily. Not heavily. Well, maybe I've been fooled all these years. We got to take a break. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. It is still pool time, and, they're booking all the installations for this year. So please, you're already a little bit behind. Get in line. Get that thing set up because I'm promising you the humidity, the heat's going up. You want the pool to be ready, and you can still get them for under $2,000 with the liners at under $300, and all the pool accessories are 20% off. Those 5 to 6 person hot tubs, they start at under $7,000. The swim spas, the cold plunges, there's $2,000 off of those, and the patio furniture is still 50% off. State-of-the-art stuff. Please get to I-40 in Wooden Road. Just walk in there. Tell them we sent you. If you do that, you never pay for installation of your pool. And just say it's pool time and that Wolo sent you. We take the break. When we come back, we go to Louisville. Paul Rogers stands by. We're talking Belmont and more in just a minute on Wolo and Friends.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a mother pheasant plucker, I pluck mother pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Fiveash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you. Elwood Shack and the Lowe's parking lot on summer just keeps getting bigger and better. Bigger
better because now there's a second Elwood Shack at 4040 Park across from the University of Memphis. And better because you can get breakfast every day at both Elwoods. There's the barbecue breakfast burrito, either beef brisket or pork shoulder, and pancake biscuits made fresh daily, real house-made pancakes, apple and bacon, French toast, and more. And the new Elwoods even has a real coffee bar serving fresh roasted J. Brooks coffee. Elwood Shack, now with 2 locations and open every day for you.
Let's pilot over to Louisville, Kentucky. Paul Rogers, the voice of the Louisville Cardinals and our analyst for all of the Triple Crown races, joins us now. It's going to be Saturday. It'll be in New York. It's not at Belmont, though, for the second year in a row. It is at Saratoga. There's only 8 horses in this final Triple Crown race. Remember, it started with 20 in the Derby, down to 8 in the Belmont. Paul Rogers, it seems like that's kind of the way these things usually work out, right? Good morning.
Yeah, pretty much. Good morning to you. First, I want to point out the Belmont Stakes is at Saratoga again, as you mentioned, for the second year in a row, and I think it's going to be 3 years before the Belmont Park renovation is completed. I've not been up there in a while, but apparently it's a massive rebuild to what was always one of my favorite tracks. So it's a beautiful racetrack. But I'm kind of glad, actually I'm glad, that we don't have a potential Triple Crown winner out there, because if we did, and if he did, there would always be that question mark, because when they run the Belmont at Saratoga, it's not a mile and a half.
Oh, it's not?
It's a mile and a quarter.
Oh, I thought it was a mile and a half still.
No, they would like for it to be, but the problem is Saratoga's track is a mile and an eighth in circumference, and the only way you can run a mile and a half there is to start in the middle of a turn, and they just don't want to do that. So the Belmont for this temporary stay at Saratoga is only a mile and a quarter race, which is the same as the Derby. Still a grueling and worthy race, but not under the Triple Crown format. So if you had a horse win the 3, everybody would always be saying, yeah, but.
I agree with that. I'm amazed that they chose Saratoga because of that. Honestly, I would have thought they would try to preserve, in case there had been that issue, that the distance for the Belmont is always going to be a mile and a half. That as well. By the way, they're spending almost $500 million on this renovation, and I guess it's going to be ready for the Breeder Cup next year, which comes, of course, after what would be next year's Belmont. So that's why I think you're right. It's a third straight year. You've muddied my day now that it's not a mile and a half, because that means it could be screwed up next year with a Triple Crown possibility.
Yeah, it could be. And as far as an alternative, there really isn't a viable one, because you definitely want to keep the race in New York, and I'm pretty sure that Aqueduct also is a mile and an eighth track, so you would have the same problem there. And I'm sure it is, because they're racing at Aqueduct now anyway, except for this temporary 1 week of races at Saratoga, which they did just. I'm not sure exactly why they did it, to be honest with you, but the Saratoga people seem to love it, and people love going to Saratoga, so I really haven't heard complaints. But that's
like upstate New York, right? I mean, that's supposed to be in the hills. Isn't it supposed to be gorgeous up there?
Yeah, generally is. I actually have some friends who have a place about an hour north of there that we go to, not every summer, but from time to time. And it's, summers up there are just beautiful this time of year. I know it's pretty warm today. The forecast was mid-80s, which is about as warm as it usually gets there. It doesn't get much hotter than that.
All right, so we do have a great storyline, even though there can be no Triple Crown winner. You've got Journalism, who won the Preakness, decided he would run in all 3 races, was the favorite in the Derby, who lost the Derby by a length and a half to Sovereignty, who decided not to run in the Preakness, did win in I think beautiful fashion, chased down Journalism and won the Kentucky Derby. So you got the winners of both. And yet Journalism, who did lose to Sovereignty, he's the favorite at 8-5, at least the morning line. And then you have Sovereignty at 2-1. So 8-5, 2-1, about as close as you can get. Two winners.
Yeah, it's negligible. I'm not sure why you choose one over the other necessarily, other than probably Journalism had a little bit more difficult trip in the Derby, and you could look at it and say, well, he could have or should have won the Derby. So they're kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, and it was a very brave and bold win he had in the Preakness. In fact, there's a lot of disagreement over whether Umberto Rispoli was a brave and bold rider or a reckless rider with what he did to win the Preakness. But anyway, this is a horse who obviously will overcome trouble to win. He's had difficulty. He had difficulty in the Santa Anita Derby and won it. Had a not clear trip in the Derby and came close, and then bulled his way through a hole that he kind of created himself to win the Preakness. So he's a battle-tested horse, and I think that's probably what gives him the slight edge. But who knows? By the time they go off for the race, they might be very close to 2-1. Maybe 9-5 each.
Well, we'll see how this rests, because remember, here's Journalism going to run 3 races in 5 weeks, whereas only the second race with a 5-week gap for Sovereignty. Journalism is the tired horse by all standards, and here's the rested horse. So we'll get to see the test case here, and if Sovereignty made the right move by skipping the Preakness.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the trend in recent years. Not many horses run in all 3. Apparently, Journalism is a rugged horse that they say looks fine. We've heard that before, and then they come up empty at the end of the next race. You just don't really know until you get to empty. But by all accounts, he's doing fine. His trainer, Michael McCarthy, says the horse has given him no reason to pull back on him yet, so he'll make this run. Win or lose, I think he'll probably take off a good amount of time and maybe be back at Saratoga come summer. He's actually based in California. He may stay out there and race the California races. I don't know. The East Coast races are more prestigious in the summer. But at any rate, yeah, that's always going to be the question. Will the extra rest be to Sovereignty's benefit? Or is Journalism on a big wave right now and stay on that? And it does look between these two. There's some other worthy contenders, but by all accounts, these are the 2 best horses in the race.
I'll get to that in just a second. And the rest of the field, but I do have to ask you, 8-horse field, Journalism 7-post, Sovereignty 2-post. Is there an advantage either way?
No, not at all. In a race like this, it's like the Derby. You're up at the head of the stretch. You got a quarter mile to get sorted out. There's only 8 horses. It's not. There's no particular advantage in this race whatsoever that I can see in post position, especially with their running styles. They both come from off the pace, so neither is going to feel an urgent need to sprint out of there and get into an exact position or be in front. So I think everything's fine in that regard.
By odds at 4-1, the 6-horse Baeza, I think that's how you pronounce it, third in the Derby. What are the chances of Baeza, who, as I said, just off that pace at 4-1?
Well, he closed to be third in the Derby, beaten only length and 3/4. He was right there. He was beaten less than a length by Journalism in the Santa Anita Derby. So there's very little separation there. You can make a strong case for him. But he hasn't beaten them yet. Will he this time? Will Journalism be just a little bit tired whereby Isaac can get past him this time? So he is the third choice, and rightly so. To me, the intrigue comes how the race is run, because you've got Crudo, who definitely, I think, wants the lead. Then you've got Rodriguez, who likes to be in front, but I kind of feel like if he tries to go with Crudo, that won't be to his benefit. So let's say Crudo is a son of Justify. He's won his last 2 starts, not against this kind of competition, but who knows how good he might be. Should Crudo should they let him go and be out on the lead, he could be dangerous. So I would kind of leave him in the mix.
I'm intrigued by Rodriguez because it's a Baffert horse.
Right.
6-1 is the number on that horse. He's well rested because he didn't run in either the Derby or the Preakness.
Right. He was the Wood Memorial winner back in early April, so he's been off just about exactly 2 months. As I said, he likes to be on or close to the lead, but to me, Crudo wants the lead. So will Rodriguez want to be content to stay just off him, or does he say, I need to challenge this horse to get the lead? That to me is a big battle, because if they do go knocking heads up front, that sets it up perfectly for both journalism and sovereignty. And that's what racing's all about. You know, how does the race unfold and who has the most gas left in the tank the last eighth of a mile?
One other horse I got to ask you about, did not run in either of the other races, is, I guess, considered the fifth favorite at 10-1, and that's Hill Road. And he comes out of the first post.
Mm-hmm. And he won the Peter Pan, which is a race that is frequently used as a prep for the Belmont. Again, he's a horse who hasn't been quite in this kind of company before, but he was a respectable third back in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, so you go all the way back to his 2-year-old year. He's showing promise. Then he was third in the Tampa Bay Derby and Derby prep, and then won the Peter Pan, which is a Belmont prep, and he's 10-1 odds. So, you know, if you there's picking winners and there's trying to make money, and if you're a gambler and you're looking for a price, I think he's a worthwhile 10-1 shot. I personally don't think he'll win it, but if you're willing to take that risk, I think it's a good gamble.
All right, so they're in the gate. 8 horses lined up at Saratoga. We're not going a mile and a half, so those that were bred to be more longer distance and closers, not quite as applicable as it might be if we were doing this thing at Belmont. Take me through the race. We're off.
Well, as I mentioned, I think Crudo and Rodriguez will be right up front, and I'm going to say that Crudo, that Rodriguez is going to let him go, and Crudo is going to be in front, and I think he'll maintain that. And then it comes around to who's going to make the biggest move. Journalism and Rodriguez and Sovereignty are both going to be kind of middle of the pack, I would think. Nobody's going to be way far back. It's just an 8-horse field. But in the end, I think Crudo, if he's unchallenged, is going to hang on and run a good race. But I don't think he can beat either Journalism or Sovereignty. So I'm going to have to go with those two, with Journalism first, Sovereignty second. I am going to pick Crudo. He's 15-1 morning line to hold on for third.
Wow. So you like Journalism to take 2 of the 3 legs and to get a little revenge on the Derby winner, Sovereignty.
I do. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if Sovereignty won it, but Journalism is a horse that, in my opinion, is a little bit stronger right now, a little more rugged.
I love it. All right, last thing, real quick. I keep hearing out of that Memphis-Louisville series, 2 home, 2 away, 2 in the middle, like Nashville. Are you hearing any of that?
I have heard. I've heard nothing official, but I've heard that talk, and it would make sense. Do you remember back in 1972 when Louisville and Memphis tied?
Oh yes. Do I remember? People are still mad here because Memphis beat Louisville both times. There never should have been a playoff game, and then you guys were the winners in Nashville.
The heyday of the Missouri Valley Conference.
Correct.
Yes, they tied in terms of won-loss record, but Memphis won both games against Louisville, and by virtually everybody's standards, the tiebreaker goes to the team that won both games. But for some reason, and I don't know why, they chose to do a playoff. I was not at the game. I was actually still at college, but I remember it. And I remember people to this day talk about what a phenomenal crowd. They played it at Vanderbilt, right? At Vanderbilt Gym. And it was a totally neutral half-and-half crowd that was just frenetic. Everybody said it was a really wild game that Louisville won, and that was Denny Crum's first year. Louisville went on to the Final Four, lost to UCLA.
And honestly, they should, because in those days only one team per conference went.
Right.
Memphis should have gone. Memphis fans have never forgotten, or the old ones like me, never forgotten or forgiven that one. But that's what makes great rivalries.
I was going to say that's why Louisville Memphis is Louisville Memphis.
I just want to know. I want you to know for the record, I really strongly believe there should only be 3 home and home. That's the way I want it. No neutrals, because the atmosphere is going to be just unbelievable at the Yum or at FedEx Forum.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's the benefit of a neutral site game. If you, you're going to split the gate, obviously. Just, keep your home receipts like you usually do and play it that way. I'm not sure why they feel like they're obligated to do a neutral game. It just makes it more inconvenient for everybody. But I guess that kind of looks like the way they're headed.
I agree. Paul Rogers, as always, we appreciate it. We will talk to you early next year or next season, I should say, because we are going to have this game in December, and I'm sure we will have lots of build-up for that.
I'm sure we will.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your summer, my friend. I appreciate
All right,
you.
you too. Thanks.
That is
Bye.
Paul Rogers, the voice of the Louisville Cardinals. He comes your way from Southern Security. Are you getting the lowest possible rate on your mortgage? At Southern Security, they offer the lowest rates, flexible terms, no PMI, and absolutely the best of service. Unbeatable. Refinance your current mortgage with the Mid-South's best mortgage leader. They've been the number one institution credit union for the last 6 years. They're working on 7. For more information, just go online at southernsecurity.org, or you can actually call the office, talk to a human being, and they'll love chatting with you at 901-452-7900. Southern Security is an equal housing lender and a proud supporter of the U of M. Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. Mickey Barker, Greg Hines, Johnny Lyon. We make golf picks in just a minute. It's the Canadian Open, and it comes your way next on Wolo and Friends.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Tito's handmade vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Briggs Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Briggs Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 big airlines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Briggs can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Briggs Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Briggs Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or BriggsPowderCoating.com.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
All right, it's time to make golf picks. We are joined by Mickey Barker. He is head of Memphis Public Golf. Greg Hines, general manager at Windike Country Club. Johnny Lyon. He is media man extraordinaire when it comes to the sport of golf. All three join us now. Let's start with the Scotty Scheffler phenomenon. He won a few weeks ago by 8 strokes. He won last week at Jack's tournament by 4 strokes, won me $4 million, got me out of the first pick here in our pick contest. Greg Hines is going to be leading us off this week for the Canadian Open. But Scotty Scheffler is doing things that only the greats have done. If you look back through history, under age 30, there's only 3 guys who have ever won at least 16 golf tournaments and multiple majors. They would be Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and now Scotty Scheffler. Mickey Barker, is Scotty Scheffler the next great one?
Oh, absolutely. He is absolutely the next great one. I think this is probably the second best run that you've seen, multiple year run in 50 years. Tiger of 2000, really of 99, 2000, 2001, 2002 was better, but this is probably the next best run in the last 50 years, maybe since Johnny Miller. But
I got to tell you, the top, he's won 16 in 4 years, okay? That's actually tied for the 10th best throughout history. Tiger has 25 2 times, 2 different 4-year periods. But I guess my point, and we'll see if Greg Hines agrees with this, we wanted to make Rory that this year, right? He finally got the career Grand Slam. He was going to be the guy. But it seems to me that 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about Scotty Scheffler like we have talked about Tiger, or we've talked about Jack Nicklaus, or maybe Ben Hogan, or maybe Gary Player. I mean, that kind of a guy. Do you think that's the case, Greg?
Yeah, no doubt. I think one of the things when we talked about Rory the last time is what I said, and I still believe this, is it's going to be interesting what the next 3-4 years hold because of Scotty Scheffler, because of Jordan Spieth, and because of Justin Thomas. I mean, you've got some guys right on the cusp of doing some great stuff all at the same time. So it may not be a one-on-one, battle like Jack and Arnie were, but it's a great time for golf right now. It's in good hands. I mean, there's 4, 5, 6 really good quality players who are breaking records left and right. And the funny part is, 6 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure you asked the question, is Scotty, what's going on with the slump?
Right.
So he's had a pretty good little run since that question got asked.
He's in historic kind of weather right now. That's where he's sitting. Johnny Lyon, I got to ask you, Rory, no show to Jack without even calling him. He's been quoted as maybe not coming to the first round of the playoffs, which just happens to be in Memphis. He did play well here 1 year where he played in the final group on Sunday with Brooks Koepka. Koepka wiped him out, but he was the runner-up in that tournament and then didn't make the cut last year. What's going on in your mind with Rory McIlroy?
Well, while you were gone, South America, on your great little trip.
Central America.
Central America, we were talking about Rory and the non-conforming driver, and it seems like every week it's a Rory story. But this week he snobbed Jack Nicklaus. It was his 50th, memorial tournament, so it was kind of a biggie. And if you watched any of it, you could see that Barbara Nicklaus looks terrible. All of a sudden, she has gotten and looks like terrible health. And for Rory to not play in that tournament, I think is just horrible. And I don't know why. Supposedly Jack had a little lunch with him at the Masters and helped him motivate him to win the Masters.
Yeah.
And then he totally dumps on him.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you.
I totally can't believe him.
Greg, Mickey, any thoughts on McIlroy and what's going on in his head?
No, not really. I don't get it. I don't blame him for not playing because he plays the Canadian Open every year. But a phone call or an explanation to Jack behind the scenes would not have been a bad thing to do.
I agree with that 100%. Greg, anything?
Absolutely. Show more respect for Jack for sure. I mean, a little surprised because I felt like Rory's navigated and people have been rough on him for a lot of years, and he's brought some of it on himself. But so certainly there's a spot you wouldn't have had to bring any more criticism on you with a quick phone call and say, man, I just not working out. I don't want to play that many weeks in a row, and I'm still worn out from the Masters and following it right up with a quick PGA.
Yeah.
So
topic for next week or the week after. But if Rory doesn't show up for the first round of the playoffs, you're already missing the stars from the Live Tour. The PGA's got to figure out a better way to make sure that all their top players play in signature events and that they play in the playoffs. Otherwise, you are really, in my mind, damaging the product. That's a discussion for another day. Here's the Canadian Open, TPC Toronto. It's the longest Canadian Open course in history, almost 7,400 yards. Greg Hines with 6.74 million will go first. I've got 8.9 million. I go second. Johnny's got 11 million third. Mickey, about 12.6 million. You are our leader, but when you got $4 million to the winner in these signatures, anything can happen. So let's start with Greg. Who do you like in this Canadian Open?
I'm going to take credit for getting you out of the cellar last week because, the week before he didn't take the obvious choice. And last week I was like, you probably, you could be leading right now if you'd taken the obvious choice the week before. But I can't. Rory's just had way too many successes, too many top tens, 3 wins there. I know it's a new course, but I got to take Rory.
I don't blame you. I would have taken him if you had left him. Even though I do think there's something wrong there. I'll go with. You know what? I'm going to go with a Canadian to win the Canadian Open. Give me Corey Connors. Johnny?
Okay, last week I had Ben Griffith and Ricky Fowler, and they did great on the funny money.
Yeah.
Almost made $3 million between those two, which has kind of kept me in the game. But this week, I am going to go with Nick Taylor.
All right, you're going Canadian too. I love it. All right, that Mickey, you're up next.
I'm going to go Shane Lowry.
Yep. Can't blame you. He was actually second in the power rankings. That leaves Greg up next.
I will take my young man, Sam Burns.
Sam Burns. Okay. I am going to take Sung Jae Im. Johnny?
I'm going to take my father's namesake, Ludwig.
Oberg. All right. Ludwig. Mickey?
Go with the young guy in his first professional start, Luke Clanton.
Luke Clanton. Wow, because I got a guy in mind in the similar situation, unless Greg steals him. Greg?
I'm going for Davis Riley.
Davis Riley, okay. I'm going to take this kid making his debut from the Corn Ferry Tour. I'm going to take Johnny Kiefer. Johnny?
Okie dokie. I'm going with the defending champion, Robert McNamara.
McIntyre. Right? Robert McIntyre?
McIntyre.
Yeah. All right. That leaves you, Mickey.
Well, you got to have at least one Canadian, Mackenzie Hughes.
Oh, I love it. All right. I think almost every one of us. Yes. No. Only Greg did not go Canadian. Okay. So here's what it is. Greg got Rory. He's got Sam Burns. He's got Davis Riley. I've got Corey Connors, Sung Jae Im, and the Corn Ferry guy, Jimmy Kiefer. Johnny's got Taylor Pendrith, Ludwig Oberg, and Robert McIntyre. Mickey's got Shane Lowry, Luke Clanton, and Mackenzie Hughes. Good luck to all of you. Thank you guys for playing. We will talk next week. Our picks are brought to you by Memphis Public Links. That's Mickey's empire, and I mean it is a great empire where you can play every day, play a little bit better if you're under 14 and you walk. It's free. How about that? And it's all in great shape. I've played Pine Hill. I've played Fox Meadows. I've played Audubon. I played Galloway yesterday. Man, all these courses are rounding into shape, and under Mickey's leadership, and I mean this sincerely, they have all become in just excellent golf courses with all their redos. And it's so easy to make tee times. Go to memphispubliclinks.com, or you can call. Either way you want to. They've got championships, the parent-child extravaganza because I play it every year with my son Nathan. It's at Overton Park on June the 14th. Memphis Public Links. That's how you get a hold of everybody. It's simple. It's great. It's golf everywhere at an affordable price. It's Memphis Public Links. That'll do it for us. I'm going to be off Thursday, Friday, and Monday. I'll see you next Tuesday. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great day, everybody.